American General, One Main, if it's Springleaf, whoever it is, now you're one of their customers and you'll get solicitation from them. These are also the people that will call and collect on you as well if you are late making your payments. These are the people that will do that as well. So don't be surprised when you get those letters in the mail that say, hey, come on in and get some money from us. They'll start offering you things for vacation when it's time for, spring break, or when it's Christmas time, they'll start offering you additional money to come in. Make sure that you read the fine print. I think I'm going to have to name this show Fine Print. Make sure that you read the fine print, because what happens is that those kinds of places have high interest rates. No matter how good or how bad your credit is, they have high interest rates. When you took XYZ Furniture and you looked at that particular account, the interest rates are probably around 24% or higher in some cases. If you took one of their solicitations when they went ahead and sent you that thing in the mail and you just got $500 from them, then that interest rate is probably somewhere around 29, maybe 30% interest. So make sure that you read the fine print each and every time you're going to be looking at doing some kind of financing. So look, we're going to come back on the other side of the question of the day, and we'll talk a little bit more about that kind of financing, a little bit more about car financing as well. And I want to tell you why it's important for you to have a good credit score as well. So we're going to talk about that on the other half. So today, the question of the day is brought to you by Cute as a Cupcake, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Cute as a Cupcake is located at 2008 West 81st in Maryville, Indiana. Get by Cute as a Cupcake and tell them that the 800 credit score man sent you. All right, so our question of the day, our question comes from Sasha, and I forget where Sasha was from. So, if I don't know where you're from or I didn't get it from you, then I'll usually make up someplace. I try to make up someplace exotic or, somewhere that I would like to go. So we're going to say that Sasha is from Aruba, because I would love to go to Aruba. So, all right, so Sasha from Aruba, here's her question. She says, if you call the collection company and they say they will not remove the negative from your record, even if you pay it, should you go ahead and pay it anyway? So that's what Sasha says. Then she goes on to tell me that it's a medical collection. So here's the conversation that went with Sasha, and I actually even had this conversation yesterday live with someone as well. So when it comes to your collections, and if they take it off or they won't take it off, let's deal with it in two ways. So the first way, we're going to kind of skip around what she was asking in regards to medical. We'll come back to that. So the first way is this. So if it's just a regular collection, you had a Sprint bill, a Comcast bill, AT&T, whoever it is, if it's a regular collection and they say, no, we are not going to remove it from your credit report. Oftentimes, if you're talking to the very first person that answered the phone, sometimes they just aren't aware of how to do it. They don't know what to do, how to put it in the system and what have you, so they just say no. Other times, if you talk to a supervisor, they may be able to do it. And even within this, here's what happens sometimes. Some places will offer, okay, we'll take a reduced amount, because if you're listening to the 800 Credit Score Man show, we do not want to pay the full amount. We want to negotiate a lower amount, a settlement, if you will. So if they sometimes they'll say, we'll remove it from your credit report, but we can't remove it and take the reduced amount. You got to pick and choose. You got to take one or the other. Or sometimes they'll say, we already made a deal with you that we'll reduce it, whatever you owe us, by 40%. That did not include us taking that off of your credit report. If you want us to take it off your credit report, we can only reduce that debt by 20%, and we'll take it off your credit report as well. So that's happened sometimes as well. This is why it's important for you to negotiate and have a strategy around negotiations. So don't just call people up and start talking. Have a strategy. Know in your head exactly how much you want to pay or are willing to pay for a particular debt. It's also, I'm going to drop a little pearl right here. It's also a good idea to use almost an odd number, if you will. So if you owe somebody $1,000, don't say, okay, I'll give you $500. because that appears to be that you just pulled that out of the air, that you just thought it was a good number to come back with for them. And they may say, no, they know you got more than 500. You at least got 550, something like that. So what you want to do is you want to use almost an odd number. You want to say, I can do of this debt, of this $1,000 debt, what I can do is actually I can do $535. And they're going to think, what's wrong with this person? That's so odd for them to bring up $535. What's the deal with that? But then psychology says what it says to them in their head, and they're not realizing it, is that you have actually thought this out. You've scraped together every penny that you have, and so $535 is pretty much all you have. And that's it. They need to take it or leave it. So that's what you do. So let me get back to this. All right. So then on the other front, when it comes to your collections, if it's a medical collection and they say that, they won't remove it from your credit report. Oftentimes, medical collections will not remove it from your credit report. And medical collections work two ways as well. So let's break this down. So if you have a medical collections, oftentimes what happens, it's not like a regular collection. Sometimes it is, but if they come in, the collection agency, when I say if they come in and they actually pay pennies on the dollar for whatever you owe this medical place or the physician or the hospital, and they pay pennies on the dollar, then they're able to take a bigger reduction in when you're negotiating for your collection. Other times, and more often how it works with medical collections is this. A medical collection page looks at, you owe this doctor $100. So what they do is they charge that doctor a percentage of whatever the debt is that they collect. So it could be as little as 10%. So 10% of $100 is only $10. So they're going to charge the doctor $10 to go ahead and make this collection account on you and to call you and make sure it goes on your credit bureau and all of those things. But they're charging the doctor $10. So if they're only charging the doctor $10, they're not going to be able to take those big reductions that we would like to have when it comes to your medical bills. Because when they do it this way, the doctor's actually going to get their $100. When you pay, the doctor will get their $100 instead of taking that reduced amount and pennies on the dollar. So that's what happens when it comes to collections with medical. I hope that sounds like it's okay. If it's not, I'll clarify it again next week. So when it comes to your question, Sasha, should you pay it? Absolutely, especially if it's medical in nature. You should definitely go ahead and pay it, and not because, this or that, this is why you want to pay it. You want to pay it because now the credit bureaus have made an agreement that once medical debts are paid, once a medical debt is paid, then it's going to not come off of your credit report, but it will not count against you anymore. So once it's paid, it shows paid on your credit report, then it's not going to hinder you. It won't be a negative for you at all. Even though it'll stay on there, and yes, it'll stay on there for 7 years as well. So your credit report won't necessarily look clean, but when it comes to your actual credit score, when it comes to your credit score, it will not negatively affect you at all. So if you only have the only negatives that you have on your credit report are, say, 3 late payments, if that's the case, and you, on your credit report, then you're going to be perfectly fine if you go ahead, not 3 late payments. If you only have 3 medical collections and you clear those up, then your credit score will reflect, a very good credit report and a very good credit score. So make sure if it's medical in nature, you go ahead and you start to make those payments on them. All right, so thank you so very much, Sasha. What did I say? You were from Aruba. So Sasha from Aruba, thank you so very much for contacting me. She sent me an email. So if you have emails, you have questions, email me 800creditscoreman@gmail.com. Again, that's 800creditscoreman@gmail.com. Send me your questions. And of course, today, the question of the day was brought to you by Cute as a Cupcake, Cupcakery and Bake Shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute. They're delicious. And I'm telling you, They are delicious. It's located at 2008 West 81st in Maryville. They are absolutely delicious. I was over there this week. I got my favorite, red velvet, of course, and I tried, I'm going to say it was the one with the pecans on top. Oh, man, it was so delicious and so moist. So get by Cute as a Cupcake. I'm telling you, you're going to thank me for doing that. All right, so thank you, guys. Thanks, Sasha. I appreciate it. Send me those emails if you have questions. Let me throw out some shout-outs. There's some big stuff going on this week as well. So I got to shout out Kelly Hardiman. Kelly Hardiman's birthday was actually on the 4th of July, so she always has fireworks on her birthday. But this 4th of July was absolutely even more fireworks because she was also proposed to and is now engaged. So congratulations to you, Kelly. Congratulations to Mr. Glover as well. So look, happy a birthday to you, Kelly, and I hope you guys enjoy a nice short engagement and go ahead and jump that broom. I also want to give a happy birthday shout out to Bonnie Woodfork as well. She celebrated a birthday. Shira Lampkin, she celebrated a birthday, and if you don't know this lady, I'm talking about a person that will do any and everything for her family. She is dogged about her business, and she is about business, and she gets it done. So happy birthday to you, Shira. I want to give a shout out to Leslie Baker Jr. as well. He celebrated a birthday earlier this week, one of my favorite men of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. So happy birthday to you, Leslie. And I got to give a shout out to Jasmine Townsend as well. Jasmine is probably somewhere baking in the sun. I think she went to Jamaica, Bahamas, Bermuda, something like that. But she celebrated her birthday as well. So happy birthday to you. All right. So look, excuse me, y'all. I told y'all I was at some nuptials last night. So my voice is a little crazy this day. So look, check this out. We only have a few minutes left in the show. So I want to first make sure that I mention again that July the 1st, those things were supposed to come off your credit report if you had civil judgments or tax liens. So let me know if they disappeared from your credit report. Send me a note. Drop me a line, 800creditscoreman@gmail.com. Drop me a line there. Of course, on Facebook, I'm 800 Credit Score Man. I'm also 800 Credit Score Man on Instagram as well as Tumblr. And if you follow me on Twitter, I'm at Credit Score _Man on Twitter. If you follow me there, I will absolutely follow you back. So I told you guys to go ahead and look at your credit report, but not to run out and do it right away. So that was July the 1st. So now it's a little longer. Go ahead, check your credit report, see if those civil judgments or tax liens came off of your credit report. I did talk to a couple people who did send me some information saying, hey, I looked at mine, it did come off. One gentleman, his tax lien came off and his credit score has gone up 30 points. So I told you before, 20 to 40 points, you can see that increase, and this gentleman's went up 30 points. So make sure that you go ahead and check your credit report. One place you can get it is by using, a place like Credit Karma, a Credit Sesame, ScoreSense, all kind of places, or you can even go and get it officially at www.annualcreditreport.com. Make sure you do that. So look, again, we are running to the end of the show. I got a couple of more shout outs, and I want to tell you why your insurance matters, and I'm going to do this really shortly. And next week, or if you contact me, I'll tell you about how the whole car thing works when you see them say, all right, you have no payments for 5 months. If you have no payments for 5 months, if you're looking at those commercials or the leasing options that says, no money down and, pay $200 a month for a Maserati or something exotic, I'm going to tell you about that next week. So before I get out of here, let me tell you why your credit matters. Here's why your credit matters. You think that it's only for buying stuff. Or oftentimes that's what we think, that it's only for buying stuff. It's not only for buying stuff. Of course, if you want to go get a mortgage, you want to get the best interest rate possible because it's probably the biggest investment that you'll ever make. So you can save the most money if you're going to go get a mortgage. If you're getting a credit card, and so you can have a credit card with a 29% interest rate, or you can have a credit card with a 5% interest rate. It's going to save you money. But in addition to those things, since State Farm agent Paul Downey is our sponsor for the show. Let's talk a little bit about insurance. Insurance companies, if you go in